Hey guys, welcome back to QuickShifts. My name is Jason and we've got a little special treat for you guys today. Today we're going to talk about the 2026 AT4 extended range from GMC. So right off the bat, you guys are probably wondering, why the heck am I looking at a Sierra EV? I've got the TRX over here and I don't really need another pickup truck. And well, you'd be right, but you guys know me. This is QuickShifts and I'm always looking at something new. I'm always looking at switching it up. So the TRX won't be going anywhere. That's actually my wife's truck and we won't be getting rid of that. But electric trucks, they're fascinating. I've been looking at them for a long time. And honestly, guys, I've been cross-shopping the Sierra and the Hummer EV and the Ford Lightning and some of these trucks and looking at them, looking for the right time with the right deal to try and make a move and see what it's like to own one of these. So let's talk about this AT4 real quick. So the good folks over at Wakefield GMC in Spartanburg, South Carolina, loaned this to me today to test drive it and see how I liked it and what I thought of it. And so I took advantage of that to put this little video together. And so if you guys are watching this, I'm not going to get too far into the weeds on the details of this vehicle. There's a lot of other channels that have gone into the deep, dark depths of EVs and their range and all that. I will say that this particular vehicle right here is an extended range. So I believe that's a 170 kilowatt battery. And it's good for about 415 miles of range. You can get the AT4 in a max range, which I think is 205 kilowatts, and I think it'll do 486. I'm sure you guys will correct me on that down in the comments down below. But what I will say, I test drove a Denali, and the Denali drives a lot like the Cadillac IQ. And the Cadillac IQ rides super nice, high-end luxury SUV. And so I wanted to come and check out the AT4 because the AT4 has the looks that I want. The front end, the red tow hooks, the 35-inch tires. To me, that's desirable. Those are things that I want in my truck. Yes, I know this isn't the ultimate off-roader. It's an AT4. It comes with a extra skid plate underneath, the bigger tires like we just spoke about. It has the step on here to protect the rockers, and it has fixed height springs. So it's a 2-inch lift on this as opposed to the Denali, but it is a fixed height. It's not adjustable. It doesn't have an air ride in there. And there's pros and cons to that. Less things to break from an air ride. And being a fixed height, you don't have to worry about adjusting it up and down. You don't have to worry about airbags failing or components on the airbag system failing. Not that that's been an issue to date, but these are still new enough that only time will tell on those. But those were important factors for me. But for me, it's really the looks of this, the front end look, the back end look. This just looks sharper to me than the Denali does. But I will say, and this might be contradictory to some of the other YouTubers out there and other reviews that you've seen. Other YouTubers have said that with this solid spring suspension without the airbags, that this rides better. No, it doesn't. This rides more like a pickup truck, which is fine. It's not a bad ride, but it's a little bit bouncier, feels a little bit more off-road. And that's really what you expect. So after I watched several of those other reviews where they're like, oh, this rides better, it was hard for me to believe, so I had to go drive one myself. And I will put it this way, the Denali, more bougie. It rides more like a Cadillac. It rides more like a luxury SUV. This, a little bit more towards a 9,000-pound truck feel, which is fine. It's still great. It's still a great ride. It's still a softer, more bougie ride than the TRX back here. That's more bouncy off-roady. This is more smooth and maybe a little bit more jarring, actually. I did see TFL, I'll give them a shout out, on their review. They kind of nailed it on theirs. They said that it's a little bit harsh. The springs are a little taut, but I don't know how you can get away with that not being the case in a vehicle that weighs 9,000 pounds. But they hit it spot on. This does not ride as nice as a Denali, but it's still a really good ride. I'm not bagging on it. I'm just saying People who thought this rode better, you got screws loose. You need to get that checked out. This doesn't ride better than the Denali. All right, so I'll try and zoom in on the sticker. It's still on here, but I don't think we're gonna get it. You'll have to check it online, guys, or I'll try and post it up here over this screenshot. But anyway, it still does the party trick back here. You can fold down this window, fold down the back here, so you have the full open bed. And this is a 5-foot 10-inch bed, almost 6 feet in total. And that does fold down, which is super nice. I will say must have for me is this tailgate, the multi-point tailgate, where this all folds down. You gotta have that. It's so nice, and as I'm getting older, I find it's a little bit harder to climb in and out of these things than when I was younger. So having this is awesome. I think you gotta have it, and you can fold this out to do various different things in all its different functions that it has, but this tailgate is awesome. It's a must-have, I think. Tons of room for all your stuff, all your activities. And on the AT4, you also get 7 different power points. And one of them is a 240 volt. And the rest are your traditional plugs. So that's a big plus to have. And then there's one up in the frunk of the vehicle as well. So actually, pull the key out here and show you guys that. So it's a double press. Oops, I opened the tailgate. Double press here, and that'll open up the frunk. And so with this vehicle, this particular build, you get the dual stage power cord here, which comes with the 110 and 240 plugs, the NEMA plug. And here's a nice little case to put all that in once you purchase it. And this also comes with the NAX adapter, which is what's in this box here. I don't know if it says it somewhere. There it is, NAX adapter. So if you're using Tesla superchargers, you're all set to go with this sucker. And then that's a tire inflation kit in there. But you can see there's tons of room in here, tons of spots to put things, and the button to open and close it, if not using the inside or the key fob, is down here. And you can give that a press, and it will lower the frunk back down. But man, I really love this front end. They should have done something similar to that on the Denali, or I'd be running to get a Denali if they did. Let's close this back up. Real quick before we go into the interior, I did want to point out this is deep ocean. That is the color. And it's a cloudy day today, so I'm struggling to get it to pick up in the camera. Maybe here's a good way of seeing it, but it's kind of a dark blue gray with a ton of metal flake in it. It's real pretty. I love this color. Lots of flake in it, but cameras don't tend to pick it up and really show it the way it looks in person. So it's hard to capture it for you guys, but this is awesome color. I haven't seen too many in this color, but let's go ahead and jump inside. All right, guys, so opening up the doors, almost all the interiors for the AT4 are the same at this point. Maybe they'll change that in the future. Right now, this is what they all look like. It's a unique interior to the AT4, has AT4 on the headrest, has the two-tone stitching in here, and it's a very comfortable, nice seat. Very happy with these seats. They do have ventilated and heated seating, and the heating is really nice, and the ventilation does a really good job, and surprisingly, it's quiet. A lot of the better ventilated seats have been much louder than these in my experience thus far. So to have this be so quiet and work so well, impressed with that. I will say though, in my short little drive here, testing the heated steering wheel has been a little bit disappointing. This big, massive steering wheel doesn't heat up very much, and it starts off in just primarily these two sections on both sides of the steering wheel, but it doesn't get all that hot. I thought it would be hotter, or you'd at least have different levels that you could put it at to choose how hot you wanted it. So maybe that's one little knock on it. But again, this has the tow package technology package on there. So you do have your trailer brake in there. You have your lighting. You can open the frunk in the rear, the tailgate from here. Parking lights, light adjustments. And then you have the big center stack in here. And unlike the Sierra or the the Chevy, the Silverado, this is more vertical, where this Silverado is more lengthwise, which is a nice feature. You have tons of space going into the armrest. You can open up the armrest, tons of space within it. And then you can also press this button and move the cup holder back and forth to give you open space here. And then you have the battery or phone charger, which you can slide forward, which gives you even more space. And there's a cubby in here. And you can go in and look further into the cubby. Tons of space, USB-C ports in there. And being GM, you still have these toggle switches for when you're using the vehicle. And big shout out to my new friend, Mr. Allen. Did a great job working with him. Big thumbs up to him. Guys, if you're interested in this vehicle or one like it, feel free to reach out to Allen. He was amazing to work with, top notch. Give him a shout, great guy. So let's go ahead, jump in and turn the power on. Okay guys, so I'll probably miss a lot of stuff here, and you guys can let me know down in the comments down below, but I'll do the best I can here. This being the AT4 2026, it does have Super Cruise in here, which is something that comes standard on the AT4, I believe. Hands free. I guess before I forget it, I'll also go over and go, it has two-way memory seats. You can adjust electronically the mirrors, and then you have your window switches in here, of course. You do have a stick here for going into drive mode and reverse, and it works like the Mercedes, where you have to pull it forward and then pull it down to go to drive, or pull it forward and push it up to go to reverse, and you click in the button to go back into the park. And then you have your wipers and lights over here. It does have rain sensing wipers, and it does have your cruise control settings there, and then some of your menu and phone controls here, and again your heated steering wheel there. And over here you have your big stack, of course, and you can go through all these menus and get into all of this. I won't go into huge detail, but vehicle status you can go into. You can go into your drive modes, and this being a AT4, one of the unique drive modes is terrain, which there's a lot of information on this on the internet that you guys can go check out, but that is unique to AT4. Gives you some characteristics in one pedal mode where it will act like lockers, but this does not have lockers in it. So if you're looking for a more capable off-road vehicle, like everybody says, you'll want to go in the direction of a Hummer. This will do off-road trails, light trails and such, but it's not really a true off-roader. It doesn't have e-lockers. It just has the terrain mode where it uses stability control essentially to keep traction going. It does still have over 700 horsepower, and you can click the hammer down button there to activate that, and it has, I believe, over 700 pound-feet of torque as well. So this thing's no slouch, especially for a pickup truck. It'll get up and go. The reason why I was looking at this package as an extended range is you still get the 415 miles of range, but in addition to it, you have better tow haul capability. So if you guys have been following me, I did pick up a camper trailer that we use quite a bit now, and I would like to be able to tow it with this vehicle from time to time if I wish to do that. And with this configuration, extended cab or extended range battery, you do have 415 total miles of range, which would probably be cut in half when towing, but you have less weight with the smaller battery than the max range battery, so you have a greater towing capacity. This is 12,300 pounds, I believe, of towing capacity, where it's only 10,000 pounds if you go with the max range. So for me, most of my driving is going to be in normal mode, to be honest. I have delusional dreams that I'll take it off-road, but the reality of that might be just a small off-road trail where I'm going to park my camper somewhere. But the reality is I'll probably rarely, if never, go off-road with this vehicle if I were to purchase it. But you can always set up your charging information. You can see how long it'll charge and how many miles you'll get at that percentage. You can go back and I'm not an expert on this yet, so you'll have to forgive me for that. But somewhere in here you can check and see how efficient it's being. And I'm not an expert in this system, so I can't really always find all the menus that I need here, and I apologize for that. But it is capable of doing that. Alright, so I set up the phone here so it takes a little bit more stable shot for you guys. I apologize for the bouncing around while I'm videoing here, but I'm trying to get this done quickly because I do have to get this vehicle back to its current dealership over at Wakefield. But so some things I want to show you here. You can go set up your trailering. The trailering in GMC vehicles is phenomenal. It's a great function to have. I don't think it's going to let me go in there without adding a trailer to it, but it lets you do all kinds of things. And so one of the important things to show you guys is the camera. So since we were talking about trailering, you can go ahead and click on the trailer camera here, and if you had your hitch sitting here, for those who have to hook up trailers all the time, you can see how that would be very easy to go in, hook up your trailer one person without having a spouse or a partner back there to direct you into the right position, or doing it 10 times yourself to try and get it right. But the camera views are amazing. They do a really good job, and it's really nice to have all of these cameras. If you were off-roading it, this would come in really handy on the trail. If you were by yourself, which you should never do when going off-road, you should always have at least one other person there to help you and spot you in certain situations, or to rescue you in the worst case of cases. But this is a phenomenal camera system. Really like it. Really happy with that, and something that is worth considering when you're looking at all of this. But it also has the capability to hook up to your trailer cameras. So if you have that, you can go ahead and hook that up to this system as well. So of course you have all your climate controls in here. You can sync it and do all those wonderful things. You can down here obviously turn things on and off using the toggle switches down here. You can turn it on auto, you can turn it off. You can adjust your temperatures down here. You can also do it by pressing the screen and using just the screen if you so choose to do that. You control your fan speed, your volumes on here. So you have a combination of touch screen and physical buttons here. And for me, I love having a physical dial here for volume. That's something that I like, and I hope the vehicles keep in there. And then you can control your passenger side and your driver's side for heated and cooled seats. And frost and defrosters are on here as well. Probably one of the screens you're going to use the most is going to be your maps, and this is Google Maps, of course. So you can integrate that with your charging stations. So you can click on chargers and see all your local chargers and how far they are from you. And like a Tesla, you can type in a destination that you want to go to, and it'll put in that destination, and it'll put chargers along the way for you if you want to use that functionality. I heard this isn't as good as the Tesla is for charging and route planning like that, but it still does a pretty good job from my understanding. I haven't been able to experience that. I won't have this long enough to be able to test any of that out, but I'll have to take other reviewers' word on that, as just like you guys will. There's a button down here that lets you control some of the quick setting adjustments. The heads-up display, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. I'll see if I can get it to do it. Doesn't. Oh, I think you can kind of see it just right there. Kind of put this at an angle so you can see some of it there. It's kind of flashing in and out, but the heads-up display is really good on this. If anything, it might be too bright. So another great feature of it is that heads-up display. And you can adjust that quite a bit. So I did want to show you guys that. Like I was saying, it is a bit bright, but you can control it, make it less bright or more bright if you so choose, or you can turn it off if you don't like it. You can also adjust it higher or lower on the front windshield there, and you can rotate it too if you'd like to rotate it depending on the angle of how you sit or hold your head when you're driving. Your dome lights, power window lockouts, your camera button in here. You can turn on your rear steering, and of course the infamous crab walk. I don't think we'll get into that today, but I did want to point out that it can do the crab walk. It does have the rear wheel steer. It does have auto high beam, and I drove it in the night, and auto high beam's a must for me. I like that a lot, and I think it should be on here. And you can turn your traction control off if you want to get a little cheeky with it or spin the wheels, or if you're off-roading so you want to have a little more slip and such, you can use that function to do that. So I think that covers most of the major features. My phone isn't hooked up to this, but you hook up your phone, of course. We did maps, audio. You can hook it up to AM, FM, Sirius XM, Bluetooth through your phone. Google News is on here. Some of the basic features. Again, no Apple CarPlay. I didn't make the decision. Don't get mad at me. I don't know why GM's doing that. Well, I do understand why they're doing that. They're trying to promote their own software and data collection. And that's why they're doing that. But in this day and age, give us the CarPlay. We all want it. Just give it to us. I've heard rumors that Tesla's going to be giving it to us. Why are you holding out, GM? Come on. But that's most of the function in here. Your off button for the car is down here. You can turn the vehicle off. You can do a timer on the car, so if you have like dogs or pets in the car, you can set the timer for 60 minutes so the vehicle will stay on. Keep the HVAC on for your animals while you're in getting something at the grocery store or whatever you might be doing. You have that ability to do that. And then you have your smart controls here where you can turn the one pedal driving on or off if you like that or don't like that. And you have a power base here, so you can run the power connections in the bed of the truck here to power your tools and whatnot. And you can set it to limit it, so if your battery is getting too low, it'll turn that off so you don't run yourself into a situation where you don't have enough charge to get where you want to go. And then this is the settings button again. So you can go in, you can control connections, vehicle settings, apps, date, time. Go in, you can change the display around, put it in different modes. Change the driver's display. You can put a lot of things over onto the driver's screen here and switch this up. Right now it's on a map setting, if you guys can see that. But I know there's some flexibility and you can change this around to be what you want. But kind of enjoying how it's set up right now. It's been nice to drive with that. But you can change that to your liking from my understanding. So I think the majority of us are going to end up using this screen here, which is the tri-screen where you can change your widgets, so to speak, in these three different screens. But I found myself just leaving this up the majority of the time. You have your maps up, it tells you what audio is playing and what songs are on, things like that. And then you have your trip information so you can see your efficiency on your trip. So that's probably the default where most people are going to be at. So that's kind of an overview of this system. That was a lot. I apologize for all that, but the interior of the GMC is just so much nicer than the Silverado. I really like this. It's a comfortable place to be. It would be comfortable for trips. This seems like a really nice screen. It's nice and clean. You guys can kind of see here, it does pick up some smudge marks, but I haven't seen a screen that's immune yet. So that's just something you'll have to deal with. But it has nice piano black in here. This is nice, feels like leather covered material. And you still have your glove box in here full of goodies or whatever stuff you're going to put in there. A couple of cup holders, we already covered that. And more storage even in the door here. So let's go ahead and hop in the back and take a look at that. But I guess before we do that, just for reference, let me switch this camera around. So this thing has a ton of room, and I wanted you guys to see that. So I'm about 6 feet tall, and I don't know an accurate way to show you guys this, but there's tons of headroom. Now I keep my seat a little bit lower. I don't like to sit up on the roof. So for me, I have tons of room in here, tons of space. I'm not a little guy. I have plenty of room, very comfortable place to be. And let's go ahead and jump in the back seat here so you guys can see how much room there is back there. All right, guys, so now I'm sitting in the rear seat here, and you guys can see how much room I have. Look at this. This is incredible. And that's with the seat sitting where I would sit. I have tons of room back here, tons of foot room, room for activities, can play all kinds of games. It's great back here from the seating standpoint. Now I have a little bit less room, maybe a couple inches here, but plenty of room for me where I can put my head back. I can smush my head up there, but I have to physically try to do that to make it happen. And you have your armrest here, a couple of cup holders here, and switch this camera around again. So now I've got it switched around. You can take a look back here and you can see you do have a pocket on the back of the seats, and that's on both sides. You have your HVAC, these are adjustable, and then you have heated seats back here for the passengers riding back here. And then there's a power plug under here additionally, and two USB-Cs under here. Kind of hard to see all that, but this is the sunshade that comes with this particular vehicle that will cover up the panoramic roof that this one comes with. Now this isn't a sunroof in the fact that it does not retract or open in any kind of way. It's just a solid glass roof, but it's awesome. I like it a lot. I just wish that it retracted, but you don't have all the space in the world to do that. But again, you can see the seats similar to the front in the back. So let's now take a look at one of its party tricks. All right, guys, so you all probably already know this, but this is very much like the old Avalanches, where one of its party tricks is that this back section comes out, so the bed will open up fully into the cab of the vehicle. So you start by pulling this cord, pulling that forward, and then put the headrest down like you just saw me do. And then we'll pull this cord here, and then we have to pull back the top of the seat. And I need two hands for this. So I apologize in advance for the camera angle. But then this will fold down. And then you do the same thing over on the other section here. So you can just take out the one section here if you want and run stuff through here, as opposed to taking down both sections. But you can take down both sections as well if you want to do that. So you could just do one side of it and bring it down. But before you bring this portion down, you have to take this glass out, but you pull these two switches up here, and it'll pop against this. And then you push that up, pull it down, set it in here, and then you have the two buttons here, and you pull these down side by side, which allows you to do that. And if you just want to run something through it without taking the glass down, you can pull just this open, and that'll allow you to do that. So you still have a functional seat there if you want to do that, just for like if you have timber 2x4s or something that you wanted to run in here. You can do that without taking the window down. So that's just something I wanted to show you. Cool little party trick. I don't know how many times you'll use it, but it's nice to know it's there if you need it. All right, guys, so I did want to take you for at least a little bit of a test drive with it, so you guys can ride along with me and see how it rides. But it's kind of hard to explain it. It's one of those things you just have to feel it or go test drive it or experience it for yourself, if you will. But if I'm trying to describe it, it feels like a heavy vehicle. It feels like it weighs 9,000 pounds. Can't really hide that. But it also feels like it's got the power for it. So when you're talking about a vehicle that has over 700 horsepower, 700 torque, you got to keep in your frame of mind that it also weighs 9,000 pounds. So you need a lot of power to move something this big and heavy. And it does a good job of that. It's got the power to do it. But is it a race car? Absolutely not. And honestly, you know, the reason why I have this vehicle is because I'm test driving it. And I'm looking at it as a potential replacement for one of my vehicles. So in my case, I'm doing the most ridiculous thing in cross-shopping this against my Tesla Model S Plaid. And this is never going to be Model S Plaid fast. And so I have to consider what I'm giving up with a Tesla Model S versus what I gain in this vehicle. And this vehicle is quick for what it is, and it's got a lot of horsepower, but it weighs a ton. I mean, this thing is so freaking heavy, it's ridiculous. But it also rides really nicely though. That weight has some advantages in that that extra weight gives it a heavy ride, which if you like that characteristic, I mean, most luxury vehicles will kind of have a heavy boat-like ride, if you will, and that is that luxury feel that you get from it. You know, it's totally different from, say, a nimble little sports car, which I'm not saying that's what the Tesla is by any chance. It's not a nimble little sports car, but it is more of a sedan, and it rides like a sedan, and this will never be a sedan. At its best case scenario, like I spoke about earlier, the Denali, it rides like a luxury SUV. And this is a little bit harsher riding than the Denali. It's still very good. Harsh is like a bad word, I guess, to use, but it rides better than any other truck that I've ridden in comparison. So non-EVs, lighter trucks, this rides better than those. This rides more comparatively to a large SUV, if you will, and less like a pickup truck. And for that aspect of it, I like it a lot. The Denali is more bougie, this is more off-roady, but still both are in a different realm than a traditional pickup truck. They do not ride like those. They're much heavier, and you feel that weight. And when you're going around corners or trying to corner a little harder than maybe you should, you feel that weight. That weight carries you in the corners. You feel it in the vehicle. You feel a little bit of roll from the weight. But on a very positive note, I want to switch over and talk about the brakes. It stops ridiculously well. Considering all the weight that's in here, you have no concerns, no worries about the stopping. It stops like you would hope it to. In fact, even better. Now, I've been driving it around in one pedal, and it does a great job. You know, again, I've had the Tesla. I've had that for a couple of years now. And so I'm very, very used to that style of one pedal driving, if you will. And this, going into it, I honestly had low expectations of how good it would be because Tesla's been doing it for years and they have all that experience. But I'm happy and pleased to tell you that GM has done a great job with it. And the one pedal feel is excellent, and I had no transition from the Tesla to this. I was able to go right into it. I'm not jerky with it, and it does a really good job. Now, this GMC does have a button on the steering wheel, I should have showed that to you, that allows you to increase the regenerative braking so you can regen brake harder. And I'll tell you, that thing will stop you real hard. Matter of fact, when I have no one behind me up here, I'll go ahead and switch over to that. And here we go, here's a nice little spot. So I'll take my foot off and then I'll hit that regen, and whoo, that thing stops you quick. And so that'll put battery power back in to the vehicle's battery through the regen, and it stops you really fast. So I think that's a great feature that it has, and I think the braking's more than adequate. All right guys, so hopefully you can still hear me all the way down there, but now I'm going to stop the vehicle and I'm going to try and put this into crab walk. And it does a nice little song and a cool display here. And we're going to see if we can't crab walk for you guys. Here we're crab walking to the left. And now we're crab walking to the right. And now we're going to knock over my camera. So that's a cool little party trick. So guys, I want to show you this animation when you put it into crab walk. Pretty neat. I thought that was cool. Wanted to share that with you guys. And then we'll take it out of crab walk. And we'll go back to doing the rear steer. And then we'll go into drive modes. And I want to show you guys the animation for hammer down. So we're going to go test out the hammer down real quick. And I want to let you guys know it is properly quick. There's no doubt about that. So if you put the hammer mode in and then you give it a little bit of gas, it will get scooting on you. It definitely takes off. And it is rather quick for a pickup truck. But let me be the first one, if other people haven't admitted this. It's not like some of the other SUVs, like the Plaid is way faster than this. I believe this does 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, where the Tesla does it in 1.9. And after you've experienced the Tesla Plaid, you get in some of these other vehicles that claim to be fast, and they are quick in their own right, but I wouldn't say that they're fast. And it kind of makes me worried. I'm worried that the Tesla Plaid has ruined fast vehicles for me, because nothing feels fast after you've driven a Plaid for a while. But it's still properly quick, and knowing that you're moving all that weight, you definitely feel that weight as you're driving this thing. It's a little bit scary. 9,000 pounds at that kind of speed, you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it at all. And to be honest, the Plaid, it can terrify you. So when you're driving the Plaid, you have to be really careful using that power, and making sure that you're not putting anybody else at risk when you do give it a little punch. But it's properly fast for a pickup truck for sure. But again, you guys also know we have the Ram TRX, the 2024, and that is a fast pickup truck. And I'm super curious. If I had the means to do it, I would love to line these two up next to each other, because I feel like the TRX feels faster. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's just the visceral feeling of that Hellcat engine in the TRX. But this is an EV, and the pumped-in sounds, they're kind of silly. But admittedly, as silly as they are, and what makes me think they're silly, I also like them for the same reason. So it's kind of fun. This is just it's a fun electric vehicle. And I will say that this rides better than the TRX. And so for me, this would be a daily driver. And so that's a factor that I consider and factor into my decision, my choice of if this was the right vehicle for me, or the right next vehicle anyway. I do want a smooth ride. I want something that's comfortable, something I get in after a day in the office and drive back home and appreciate and not dread. And something that I can drive back to Ohio when I have to make that long trip. As you guys might be familiar with, I make that trip from time to time, and I want a vehicle that makes that as easy on me as possible, especially as I'm getting older. I want it to be nice and easy, and my days of driving the GTO back and forth are over. I don't want to do that. I love my GTO, and I'll always have a place in my heart, but it's brutal, and a long trip like that beats you up. And I want to get there rested and ready to go, and to enjoy my time up there when I make that trip. So those are just factors that come into play when you're picking a vehicle like this. And this is a great daily driver that I could see road tripping without a problem, without any concerns. I think it does a great job. You do feel the weight, but I like it. I like that weight. I like feeling it. You do feel a little bit of torque steer when you launch it. I'm not going to lie about that. It does bring a smile to your face. Something this massive just has no business being this quick. I really do like it. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of fun. But guys, I like how this drives. I like how it rides. It's a truck, but it doesn't feel like a truck. It's hard to explain. You got to go out and test drive one of these. I think you'll like it too. Unless you hate large vehicles. It is a big vehicle, and you feel that it's a big vehicle. But admittedly, for me, I like gas engines. I also like EVs. And this has got the best of both worlds. I mean, they're getting really good with these guys. It's hard to argue that, oh, I don't like it, I'm not going to drive that. This is pretty darn good. They have gotten to where everybody needs to go and test drive one of these. It'll change your opinion about it. This is a great truck, and I think GMC did a wonderful job with it. and I'm really impressed with it. So we'll see what the future brings. But thanks for tagging along for the road trip here. Let's go close this video out. So guys, thanks for tagging along in this video. Thanks for checking out the overview on the 2026 GMC Sierra EV AT4. And these are the pros and cons that I had for this vehicle. And maybe you have some different experience and different opinions of it. Go ahead and leave those things down in the comment. Any questions you have, I'll do the best I can to answer them. But this is my review of it and how I feel about it, and my thoughts on possibly trading in my Tesla to go with an EV pickup truck. It's a great vehicle, handles really well, it does a lot of great things, has a lot of cool gadgets, but is it the right vehicle to replace my Tesla Plaid with? I don't know. Still debating that one. I don't know if this is the right way to go. I'm still looking at a few other options. The Hummer EV is something that I've always wanted to get my hands on, but I'm looking for the right deal on that one. It's still super expensive. They have high depreciation. So do these. So it's hard to drop a Tesla to get into something that actually depreciates even more or worse than the Tesla. And a lot of things to factor. Don't know what I'm going to do yet. Stay tuned and you'll find out when I find out. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, share. Give a shout out to Wakefield and Alan over there. Great people, great job. Loved working with them. They'll hook you up with either this truck or one like it if that's what you like and something that you want to check into. They're located in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Give them a call. I'll have their information in the details of this video. Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it. Check you out later.